Hi, you all. I'm getting ready for bed, and I was thinking about a story about how the Lord did a story, the kind that you read about in the Bible. He did this in my life. I was working as a manager. I was new to this one restaurant, and the restaurant was like the Wild West. That's the best way I can describe it. There were kids that were coming in, young people that were coming in wearing um, parts, things that they were not part of the uniform, that were against the company policy. Their uniforms were not clean. They were coming in late. The restaurant was dirty. You'll get what I'm saying. And I was told that a lot of the people were most likely going to need to be replaced. So my job was to come in and set the standard and then hire new staff to build a better culture in the restaurant and to raise the scores because they were at the bottom, 25% when I got there. So I started doing what I was supposed to do. Well, this restaurant had also a history of running off managers, and they would brag about how they've done it before. And I knew this because there were some of the people that were working there were really good people, and they made a lot of money at this restaurant. And they just, even though these people were doing, the other people weren't doing what they were supposed to do, I'd say about 25% were doing the job that the company required of them to do. So these people were just kind of warning me, be careful because, you got to watch your back with these people and they're after you, right? Well, there were about 10 to 15 of them, and they had gotten together and they were trying to get me fired. And I'm new to this restaurant. So even though I'm doing a good job, probably 80% of the time, 20% of the time, I'm making mistakes and just learning whatever. And it's getting better and better as I'm getting to know the restaurant more. Okay. So every week, though, after a while, I was having meetings with the district manager because these kids were complaining about everything. And they were making up stuff, you all. They would take something that happened, twist it, collaborate with each other to make me look like I was, a horrible person. But I was still coming to work, and they, I would get reprimanded for things I wasn't doing, and I would say that's not what happened, but I was doing a good job. I continued the course. I continued to hire new staff that fit the culture, continued to set the standard. Our numbers began to rise. The restaurant got cleaner. People were coming in with uniform. We got better compliments, and I was getting compliments from the guests, lots of compliments because of what we were seeing happen. But once a week, district manager was coming in with all of these allegations, and it was so intimidating. But I was speaking the word over myself, and I was speaking that God was my protector, and no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And what the enemy means for evil, God's going to turn around from good. And I was not going to run from the enemy. God had placed me in that job, so I knew he was going to take care of me. Now, fast forward, I've been there about a year. This is consistently going on. I get diagnosed with cancer. You would think that they would have stopped doing what they were doing out of, pity or some kind of compassion. Nope, they did not. And I went off and had my treatments, came back, still going through chemo and radiation, and these kids were still doing what they were doing. Now, mind you, I'm also hiring better staff, and people are firing themselves because they're not meeting the standard and given plenty of chances. So, of course, they're firing themselves. So we're getting more and more good staff. The girl met me in the office, and she, not just her, it was her and a guy, and they showed me something on their phone. These kids had gotten so cocky, these young people, that they put their entire plan on Facebook and had put a threat that if anybody told what they were doing, they were going to come after them, which is a terroristic threat. I could not believe what I was seeing. And I called my GM and I called the district manager and I said, hey, this is what's going on. And they said, take a picture of everything. So I took a picture of everything, sent it to them. And they sent it to the legal team. And you all, God took care of them by allowing them to get so cocky that they told on themselves. And all of that was nixed. And what made it even worse for them was I was a cancer patient. I was a single mother of 3 children who were in college, and they did not care. They just wanted their way, and God took care of them. No, if God would take care of me, he will take care of you. It took a year for me to see results. I had to go in every day and pray and do my job in the midst of raging waters and just this fiery furnace. But God sustained me and His grace was enough. So I just wanted to share this story to tell you, no matter what you're going through, it's true. God is faithful and He will be there for you and He will have your back. So don't you give up. You keep trusting Him, you keep speaking the word, and you keep showing up. You depending on His grace as you do a great job. You all have a great night. Bye.